The sun shone brightly over Asgard, reflecting of every golden surface of Odin's palace. Thor, the god of thunder, was restless in his chamber, his gaze fixed on the vast expanse of the sea that separated Asgard from Jotunheim, the feared land of giants. He felt adrenaline coursing through his veins, a burning desire to prove his worth against the powerful beings that inhabited that realm. Beside him, Mjölnir, his cunning brother, observed with a mischievous smile. "Do you really think you can face the giants and come out unscathed, Thor?" Mjölnir questioned, crossing his arms. "Especially when their tales speak of their treacherous cunning." "I am not worried about cunning, Mjölnir," Thor replied, slamming his fist on the table, causing the mead cups to clink. "It's time to show them that I am the god of thunder, and that they should fear my strength." At that moment, the Laufey, the devoted servant, entered the room, carrying a bag of provisions and weapons. "My lord, I am ready for the journey." "What should we take?" he asked, looking at the two gods. "Take what is necessary," the Laufey, Thor ordered. "We need weapons, food, and courage." He turned to Mjölnir, who now wore an expression of pure amusement. "You're going to help me, right?" "I don't want you just watching." "Oh, you know I can't resist a good challenge," Mjölnir replied, winking. "But I promise to bring some surprises along the way." The landscape unfolding before them was majestic and intimidating, with peaks covered in ice and dark clouds that seemed to watch their every move. "Look," the Laufey exclaimed, pointing to the towering cliffs. "I have never seen anything so grand and fearsome." Mjölnir chuckled lightly. "Grand, yes, but also dangerous. Don't forget that the giants are not just large, but cunning as well." Feeling the tension in the air, Thor responded with determination. "If they challenge me, I won't hesitate to use Mjölnir." "Come on, my friends, adventure waits us." With that, the three heroes forged ahead, ready to face the challenges that Jotunheim had in store for them, unaware that the true test of their abilities was just beginning. Night fell in Jotunheim, stretching like a dark cloak over the icy landscape, as Thor, Mjölnir, and the Laufey prepared to sleep under the watch of the giant Skrymir. The air was biting, and the moonlight barely penetrated the heavy clouds. The giant, lying just a few meters away, began to murmur incomprehensible words as if invoking some kind of magic. "He is more cunning than he appears," Thor thought, watching Skrymir with suspicion. As the three friends settled in, a strange light began to glow around them, illuminating the field with vibrant colors. "What is this?" the Laufey asked, his eyes wide. Mjölnir, ever curious, replied, "It looks like the giant is creating illusion. He wants us to dream of riches and glory." Gradually, Thor began to see visions of unimaginable treasures, mountains of gold, shining jewels, and artifacts of unimaginable power. "This must be a trick," he exclaimed, but the temptation was great. He let himself be carried away, imagining what it would be like to rule with all that wealth. The next morning, Thor woke with a heavy head and a racing heart. Skrymir was standing, laughing, and the visions of the night were just echoes of a dream. "Good morning, little gods. I hope you enjoyed my gifts." The giant smiled, and Thor's expression quickly shifted from dream to rage. "You tricked us, Skrymir. Where are the treasures you promised?" "Treasures? No, my friend. They were just illusions, as you yourself said," Skrymir replied, still laughing. "Did you really think you could attack me? Come try." Enraged, Thor raised his hammer, Mjölnir, and charged at the giant, but Skrymir merely shook his head. "You don't understand, Thor. Your attempts are as futile as trying to lift a mountain with bare hands." The giant's laughter echoed across the icy landscape, and Thor realized that Skrymir's true strength lay not just in his size, but in his cleverness. Frustrated, the three friends pressed on, determined to reach the castle of Utgard Learning. "We need to be more cunning," Mjölnir suggested, looking at Thor. "If we're going to get through this, we'll have to use more than just strength." The Laufey nodded in agreement, sensing the tension in the air. "The only way to defeat him is to play his game. Let's use our skills, not just our muscle." With a heavy heart, but a sharp mind, they continued their journey, aware that the true battle was just beginning. The arrival at Utgard Learning's castle promised new challenges, but also a chance to turn the tide and face their illusions with courage and cunning. Destiny awaited them, and they were ready to discover what else Jotunheim had to offer. Thor, Mjölnir, and the Laufey found themselves standing before the majestic castle of Utgard Learning, where the atmosphere was thick with strange anticipation. The king of the giants watched them with a wry smile on his lips, as if he knew their plans were about to unfold. "Welcome, little gods. Are you ready to have some fun?" His voice echoed through the courtyard, and the heroes exchanged determined glances, prepared to face any challenge. "We are ready to prove our strength," declared Thor, slamming his fist into his palm. his confidence unshakable. What do you propose? Utgard Lerni. Simple yet revealing challenges, replied the giant with a wink. First, a contest of strength, then a race, and finally, a drinking competition. Do you accept? Of course we accept, Lerni exclaimed, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Thalafi, always the cautious one, hesitated for a moment but soon joined them, determined to prove his worth. In the first challenge, Thor found himself facing a colossal cup filled with mead. This is easy, he said, lifting the cup with one hand. However, as he tried to raise it, he felt a growing weight, as if the cup itself was transforming into a mountain. What's happening? He gasped. You are merely succumbing to the magic that reigns here, the giant replied with laughter. Strength is not just physical, my young god. As Thor struggled with the cup, Thalafi prepared for his race. He stood before a giant who appeared relaxed, but the little god's confidence quickly faded. At the signal, he started to run, but soon realized something was amiss. Why can't I catch him? He shouted, exasperated, as the giant easily outpaced him. Each step felt slower than the last, as if he were running against his own thoughts. It's an illusion, Thalafi. Focus, Lerni shouted, trying to help him. But in the meantime, Lerni found himself in trouble, attempting to challenge an illusory fire that danced and twirled but didn't burn. He turned to Thor and Thalafi, desperate. How can we win if this is all a trick? We need to uncover the truth behind these challenges, Thor replied, his gaze resolute. These competitions may seem simple, but I'm starting to understand that the real challenge lies within our minds. The three friends gathered, aware that victory would not merely be a matter of brute strength, but of cunning and unity. What should have been a simple competition was transforming into a battle against the illusions surrounding Utgard Lerni's castle. After the daunting trials they faced, Thor, Lerni, and Thalafi reconvened in the great hall of Utgard Lerni's castle. The atmosphere, once filled with laughter and jests from the giants, now felt heavy, as if the truth hovered in the air, ready to be revealed. Utgard Lerni, with a sardonic smile, observed the three heroes with an expression that mingled amusement and superiority. Did you really believe you could triumph over me? Said Utgard Lerni, his voice echoing of the stone walls. Every one of your challenges was an illusion, a trick of the mind. There was no strength or speed at play, just the cunning of a giant. Thor, fists clenched, stepped forward, rage coursing through his veins. You hide behind tricks. I am not a mere pawn in your game. Utgard Lerni. Tell me, where is the serpent? Where are the true challenges? With a deep laugh, the giant replied, the world serpent, Jormungandr, is far from here. You couldn't lift it because, in truth, it was never present. Only your minds were ensnared in my illusion. Thalafi, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke, his voice trembling with indignation. So everything has been a farce. We've been deceived from the very beginning. Yes, young warrior, confirmed Utgard Lerni, a satisfied glint in his eyes. You are nothing more than toys in my hands. And now, what will you do? The storm I conjure can easily sweep you away from Jotunheim. At that moment, the sky darkened, and a strong wind began to howl, tearing the flags from the castle and rattling the windows. Thor looked at Lerni, his determination renewed. We will not be defeated by illusion. We need a plan. Yes, but how can we overcome a giant who controls the mind? Lerni questioned, his eyes shining with cunning. We need to attack the source of his magic, Thalafi, now more confident, suggested. If true strength lies in unity, we must work together. We need to undo what he has created, not just confront him. I agree, said Thor, already raising Mjölnir, his mighty hammer. Prepare yourselves, friends. Let's find a way out and put an end to this charade once and for all. As the storm raged around them, the three heroes positioned themselves, ready to face not just Utgard Lerni, but the darkness of illusion. The friendship and loyalty that bound them became their greatest weapon. With a shout of determination, they advanced, resolved to confront the challenge. The atmosphere in Utgard Lerni's castle was thick with tension as Thor, Lerni, and Thalafi gathered to face the final challenges. The echoes of the giants' laughter still resonated in their minds, but now it was time to transform that laughter into resolve. The heroes exchanged glances, each reflecting on the lessons learned from the competitions. We need to use our cunning, Lerni said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Utgard Lerni feeds on illusion, but that's not the only magic he knows. Thor nodded, gripping the handle of Mjölnir tightly. I won't let some giant measure my strength with tricks. Let's dismantle this illusion once and for all. Thalafi, having absorbed the frustrations and experiences and the challenges, suggested, if we can destabilize his magic, Perhaps we can find a way to break the spell that surrounds the castle with a plan in mind. Thor strode to the center of the hall, where the air seemed to vibrate with the energy of the illusion. He raised Mjölnir above his head, the hammer's light shining brightly. By the power of Asgard, I command that lies be undone. His voice echoed, powerful as thunder. Focusing, Thor channeled all his strength, feeling the energy of the hammer flow through him. With a firm strike, he hit the ground, sending a shockwave through the castle. The walls, once adorned with dazzling illusions, began to tremble, as if the very magic was being torn away. "This is it," the Laufey shouted, running alongside Thor. "Keep going." But suddenly, the figure of Utgard Loki emerged, laughing mockingly. "You think you can break my illusions so easily? You have no idea who you're dealing with." Loki, ever clever, saw an opportunity. "Don't underestimate the power of cunning giant. I know spells that can ensnare you in your own illusions." He positioned himself, ready to invoke the magic he had learned from his many tricks. "You think you can defeat me?" Utgard Loki sneered, but his confidence began to waver as he saw the determination in Thor and Skjalfari's faces. "Come on, Loki, do it," encouraged Thor as the giant began to squirm, uneasy, realizing that the tide of battle was turning. Loki closed his eyes and began to murmur ancient words, invoking a powerful spell. The energies of the castle seemed to respond to him, and the light began to intensify, enveloping Utgard Loki in a blinding glow. "You cannot escape your own creation, Utgard Loki declared, his voice firm and full of power. "Prepare to face what you have forged." With an explosion of light, the illusions began to collapse, revealing the giant's true face. Filled with fear and surprise, Thor and the Laufey braced themselves, ready for the approaching battle, as the true nature of the castle was laid bare before them. Within the crumbling castle, the final battle unfolded amidst echoes of thunder and lightning that seemed to respond to Thor's fury. The god of thunder, with Mjölnir in hand, charged toward Utgard Loki, who loomed majestic and threatening. Loki, with a cunning gaze, prepared to cast a spell that could turn the tide. The Laufey, now more confident, stood ready to act. "You cannot deceive us forever, Utgard Loki," Thor shouted, his voice resonating through the crumbling hall. "Today, your illusion will dissolve like mist before the sun." The giant laughed, a deep, resonant sound that reverberated of the stone walls. "You think you can defeat a god of illusion? You are mere mortals, insignificant before my power." With a swift movement, Loki raised his hands, concentrating his magical energy. "Do not underestimate the cunning of a god. The truth always prevails." He began to chant an incantation, his words dancing in the air like flames. Utgard Loki, realizing the threat, unleashed a wave of illusions upon the heroes, trying to confuse them. Nightmarish images of monsters and tentacles appeared around them, distorting reality. However, the Laufey, with a new understanding, shouted, "Don't be fooled. Remember what we learned. These are just shadows. That's it." Thor exclaimed, pausing to grasp the essence of what his friend was saying. "We need to focus on what is real. Together, we will break this magic." With a battle cry, the three united their forces. Thor channeled his strength through Mjölnir, while Loki traced runes in the air with his hands. The Laufey, with the resolve of a true warrior, ran around the giant, distracting. "Now," Loki shouted, and together they unleashed a beam of energy that illuminated the hall, shattering the illusions surrounding Utgard Loki. The giant, caught off guard, saw his true form revealed, and Thor's fury came crashing down upon him. With one last roar, Utgard Loki was brought down, trapped by his own lies. The hall, now free from illusions, displayed the true nature of the giants that had once seemed so powerful. Thor looked at his friends, pride shining in his eyes. "Today, we showed that true strength comes from unity and wisdom." Upon returning to Asgard, the revelation of Skrymir's betrayal came to light. He who had appeared to be an was now seen as an agent of Utgard Loki. "You deceived us, Skrymir," Thor declared, his voice resolute. "Justice will be served." Skrymir, now exposed, could no longer hide his true nature. With the defeat of Utgard Loki, Thor and his friends became true heroes of Asgard, learning that bravery without wisdom can be in vain, but loyalty and cunning will always prevail in adversity.